Day 19. They're doing a summer of Spielberg thing at the 100-year-old theater over in Silverton, and Gabe's grin is bright and crooked in the light from the Vinton's marquee. Oh, hey, I brought you something, he says as we're crossing the parking lot, digging into the cargo pocket of his shorts and coming up with one of those plastic glasses set with the nose attached, complete with fuzzy synthetic mustache to avoid detection. I laugh out loud as we head into the lobby, grabbing them out of his hands. The very tip of his fingers brush mine. Oh, you're funny, I tell him. Nobody will notice me now. Nope. Gabe smirks, reaching out for his wallet as we step up to the ticket counter. I got it, he says, easily waving me off when I try to pay. You sure? I ask, tucking my disguise into the collar of my shirt. Until now, we've always split dead, even when we did anything together. Lunch at Bunchie's or first night when we went to Frank's or hot dogs. I'm not totally sure what it means that he's changing the rules. It's not a date, I told myself as I got ready the night, even as I wiped vanilla behind my ears and flicked on mascara. In any case, Gabe lets me pay for the popcorn and we settle in to the tattered red seats, bits of crimson thread dangling from the edges. The chilly air is heavy with the smell of old buttery salt. The theater is old and the rows are crammed close together. Gabe's knees bump the back of the seat in front of him hard enough that the girl sitting there whips around and shoots him a dirty look in half a second before she realizes how cute he is and smiles instead. Gabe shakes his head. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Sheepishly looks at me. I'm like Andre the fucking giant, he murmurs to me, snorting a little. Do you know I actually got asked to go stand in the back of a bar in Indiana last winter? It was a Game of Thrones watching party. I was blocking everybody's view of the dragons. That makes me laugh. Life's hard, I tell him. Then he mock scowls and makes a big show of not knowing what to do with his elbows. It's surprisingly goofy, not a side I've ever really seen out of him before growing up. I always thought of him as Joe Cool, not somebody who ever felt self-conscious or unsure about anything. Is this a date? I blurt as the lights dim, squinting a little to track his curious, open expression in the fading light. He looks surprised. I mean, like right now, you and me? Gabe looks surprised. I don't know, Molly Barlow. He says, shaking his head, and he's setting me up for a riddle. Do you want it to be? Do I want it to be? I don't know either, I almost tell him, but just then the lights darken completely, the familiar old score starting up. Gabe reaches for my hand in the dark. Instead of holding it like I'm expecting it, he turns it over, though, rubbing the tip of his index finger in patterns over the inside of my wrist, stroking over my pulse point until it feels like every nerve ending in my body is concentrated in that one place, an icy hot sear, like the stuff my old track coach used to have us rub on our knees after practice. It's Gabe, and I'm pretty sure it is a date, and that I like that it's a date. The dark, private feeling of being here along with him, even though the theater is more than half full, it feels slick. Like if anyone found us, we'd be hauled off to jail in handcuffs, but it also feels good and easy and right. Gabe fingers play over my wrist all through the first third of the movie, drawing idle cuticles there. I wonder if he can feel blood beating against this inside of my skin. I hold my breath, feeling my heart twitch with anticipation at the back of my mouth as he touches me like one of my mom's crazed fans, speeding through her chapters to see what will happen next. What happens next, as it turns out, nothing. E.T. and Gertie watch Sesame Street. Gabe reaches for the popcorn. I wait for him to take my hand again, but he doesn't, just sits back in his seat right through E.T., phone home, and the bicycle over the moon, arms crossed over his chest like he's been there all night long, like this was never anything but a friendly hangout to begin with. So that's confusing. I could take his hand myself, obviously. I'm not 12 years old or Amish from the year 1742, and God knows I used to reach for Patrick's whenever I felt like we're having mine held. I'm not shy, but there's something about Gabe's sudden retreat that throws everything else into a sharp relief of the shine wearing off my foggy head, clearing enough so that I can finally see this whole night for what it is and what it isn't. I guess I was wrong then. I don't know why I feel so disappointed about it, but I pull it together as the lights come back up and people start shuffling out of into the narrow aisles, passing the same. Everything's great. Smile on my face I have used for everyone, but Gabe also long. That was fun, I say brightly, in a tone so fakely jocular I might as well add. Bro, Gabe nods. Gabe only nods. I pick up my purse and follow him out toward the exit, telling myself there's no reason to feel so let down. You okay? He asks now. And I look up at him. We came out through a side door, just the two of us walking along a narrow strip of sidewalk outside the theaters. The lights from the parking lot casting orange pools onto the concrete and everything else shadowy, dark. He bumps his arm against mine gently. Right away, I feel the hair stand up. Uh-huh. Both of us have stopped walking. I can hear car doors slamming out in the parking lot, the sound of engines rubbing to life. I swallow. I'm good. I just Gabe interrupts. Look, he says, I didn't mean to wig you out earlier if I did with, like, the date talk. You were with my brother a long time. I get it. I'm not trying to be a creep. Wait, what? I asked. No. You didn't wig me out. I mean, I shake my head. I'm the one who brought up the date talk, remember? I thought I wigged you out. You sure? Gabe asks, taking a step in my direction, slow and easy. Like an instinct, I lift my chin. He's not touching me at all, but I can feel him everywhere. Anyhow, so many atoms vibrating between us that it seems like the air should make a sound. I promise, feeling a smile, feeling like something like relief spread across my face. Definitely not wigged out. Oh no. Gabe puts his hands on my cheek carefully. I can feel the heat of his body bleeding through his shirt and mine. What about now? The smile turns into a grin. Nope, I say. What about now? He asks again, then kisses me before I can answer. Day 20. Kissing Gabe stokes a fire I didn't know I had in me. When I wake up the next morning, I feel everything's spilling open all of a sudden. Like maybe the summer holds a silver of possibility in its pocket after all. I march into French roast like a general heading to battle, like Gabe stamped a badge of courage on my heart. For the first time in a long time, I feel brave. Here's the thing, I tell Imogen, leaning over the counter while she's wiping down the espresso machine, her hair twisted up in a tidy hipster sock bun. The shop is mostly empty, but just one guy in big headphones near the door. I know you're super mad at me and you have tests, so you probably don't need me anymore, but like, I take a deep breath and admit it. I could really use a friend, Imogen. For a second, Imogen just stares at me, rag in hand, unblinking. Then she laughs out loud. You need a friend? She asks, shaking her head, like she's been waiting for this moment, like she saw me coming a mile away. Seriously? What about all last year, Molly? I stuck my neck out the whole entire time. Everybody was being shitty to you, and you didn't even say goodbye when you left. She drops the rag down on the counter like a red cape at a bullfight, eyes wide. My mom had skin cancer last fall. Did you know that? She had to get a giant chunk of her back carved out. She couldn't walk or move or do anything, and I couldn't even talk to you about how scared I was because you ran away and never returned a single phone call. And now you're back, and Patrick's here. And yeah, it's probably weird for you. I get that, but honestly, I don't know if I want to stand. If I want to stand here at I want to stand here at my job and listen to you tell me how you need a friend. For a moment, I just stand there motionless, rooted in the place like one of the 100-year-old pine trees lining the shore of the Star Lake. You're right, I tell her. My cheeks flush red and tips of my fingers go icy. I feel more cow in this moment than in if Julia Donnelly keep my car every day for the rest of the summer. I feel like the worst friend in the world. I'm so sorry. You're totally right. There's a long loaded breath before Imogen answers. She's okay now, she says quietly. My mom. She looks wrung out. No, she said it. Imogen has always hated to fight or people being mean to one another. When we were in third grade, some boys pulled the wings of a butterfly at recess, and she was inconsolable all afternoon. It didn't spread. We looked at each other for another long time. Another long, another long minute. We breathed. Finally, Imogen shrugs, picks the rag up again, wiping the shiny chrome body of the espresso machine. Even though it's already gleaming, I like a boy, is what she says. I feel a smile spread over my face. Slow and uncertain, I know, a gift when I see one, and I'm so very thankful for this. Yeah, I asked her carefully, who's that? His name is Jay, Imogen tells me as she finishes cleaning up behind the counter and switching the music on the ancient iPod they use for the music in the shop. He's a regular at French Roast. He's 19, goes to culinary school in Hyde Park. He's in town to do an externship externship at the lodge. Oh, I know Jay, I realized, grinning. He's quiet and easygoing. The sous chef who puts coffee in the dining room every morning. I've met him a few times on my various detours through the kitchen, one errand or another for a pen. He asked me he helped me find juice for Desi once when I needed 3 different kinds because she wouldn't tell me out loud which one she wanted. Jay's handsome. He is, right? Imogen goes pink from the tips of her ears down to the neckline of her flowered sundress. He's half black and half Chinese. His parents met in London. She makes a face. I mean, he volunteered that information. It wasn't like, hello, nice to meet you. Please tell me about your cultural heritage or anything. I laugh. So you and Handsome Jay are chatty then, huh? Uh-huh. Imogen nods shyly. Excuse me. She reaches into the pastry case, pulls out a chocolate croissant, sticks it on a plate, and hands it over. Hey, hey, try that. We switch bakeries and they're new. We talk a bit, yeah, and he had a lot of really cool suggestions for my art show. Wait, I interrupt, mouthful of delicious croissant. What art show is this? I'm doing one here at the end of the summer. Imogen, food and stuff. You should come. I will. I promise immediately. I wouldn't miss it. I'll be there with bells on. Okay, relax. Over there, Tiger. Imogen says, but she's smiling. And hey, what's going on with you and Gorgeous Gabe? I shake my head, breaking off a hunk of pastry and handing it over. You don't want to know. I warm, then settle in to tell her anyway. Day 21. I'm rushing out the door on the first morning. The lodge opens when my phone dings in my back pocket. The alert of new email. I fish it out thinking it could be a last minute missive from Penn, but it's actually a notice from school reminding me that I still haven't picked a major. It's not mandatory, but strongly suggested before class registration. The dean of students wants me to know. Selecting a field of study in advance of arrival on campus aids incoming students in course selection and maximizes the efficiency of the student's faculty advisor. I grimace, clicking the button to close out and shoving the whole outfit back into the pocket. My entire life feels undeclared. It's hard to imagine I'll ever get out of Star Lake, let alone be able to decide what I want to do with the rest of my existence. I can feel the beginning of a headache pulsating hotly behind my eyes. Luckily, work is busy enough that I don't have a ton of time to dwell on it. It's strange that weirdly gratifying to see the lobby full of people after 2 weeks of it feeling like a ghost town. Dads in dorky cargo shorts wheeling giant suitcases and pot-bellied kids floating on brightly colored rafts in the lake. A group of middle-aged ladies from Plattsburgh planned their annual book club retreat for this weekend, and they camp out on the porch drinking rum runners all afternoon. I wave at Imogen's Jay as I dart through the kitchen, smile at Tess as I hurry past the pool. Pins got me running all kinds of tiny, urgent errands, sussing out sugar cubes for pictionary persnickety excuse me, tea drinker in the dining room and wiping up an unidentified spill on the wide plank pine floor in the hallway of the lobby. Penn went for a vintage rustic look in the redesign. The big leather couches coupled with thrifted blanket plaid blankets in all guest rooms, a giant stuffed moose head holding court on the wall above the reservations desk that all of us have taken to call in George. He's fake, I assured one snickering looking elementary schooler, although I have no idea that's true, and in fact suspect it's not. Win some, lose some, I guess. Poor George. Nice job today, Penn tells me, a lull just before dinner, given her 5 minutes to play a quick game of tic-tac-toe with Fabian on the back of some hotel stationery. Desi stacked on the floor underneath her desk, thumb shoved into her mouth, and since you started, really, thank you for your help. No problem, I say, attempting to swallow down a yawn with only partial success. I feel good, though, like how I used to feel after track practice back at the beginning of high school, like I accomplished something worth doing. I think of the email from Boston still sitting in my inbox, the one about picking a major, about figuring out once and for all what I want. Can I ask you something? I say, how do you know that coming here and opening this place was what you wanted? Penn looks over at me for a moment, like she's surprised that I'm asking. She's wearing a suit today instead of the jeans and t-shirts I'm used to seeing this morning. I grabbed her by the arm on my way through the lobby and yanked off the tag that was still sticking out of her collar. Well, I managed restaurants for a long time, she says, drawing an O on Fabian's paper and rattling off names of a couple places I actually recognize, spots my mom and her editor go when she's in New York City. Before that, I used to plan parties for rich people. You did? I asked, picturing it, Penn in a fancy dress, heels in a headset, directing caterers and designing lighting schemes. I nudged Fabian in the shoulder, pointing to a spot on the grid that'll give him a win no matter where his mom goes next. Did you like it? Penn considers that. I like being the boss, she tells me. I like solving problems. I like being around other people. Kept me from disappearing into myself too much, I think. She reaches out, sifts her hand through Fabian's silky curls, looking almost dreamy. I love the city, she confesses softly. Yeah. Acts curious, what made you leave? Penn comes back to herself, then smiles as Fabian holds a notepad, triumphant, 3 wobbly X's all in a row. Was time for a change, is all she says. Day 22. The next day is another long, colorful blur, a grand opening cookout on the shore of the lake, and an old-fashioned pie-eating contest. Prep for a huge firework display set to a start at the end of the night. Gabe sneaks in mid-afternoon and finds me in the office for a quick, guilty kiss, his warm hands resting on my hip bones and his sly mouth moving against mine. Miss you, he murmurs when my hands wander up to tangle in his silky hair. I'm surprised by how pleased I am to hear him say the words, missed you back. I tell him and realize all at once that it's true. We've been texting a bit since our date at the movies, but I think he somehow got I needed time to parse stuff out. It's unexpected how the sight of him feels, smell, taste makes me smile. Gabe grins against my lips, slow and easy. I push Patrick's bruised face out of my mind. We make plans to meet up for breakfast in the morning, and I walk him out the side entrance of the lodge to the parking lot. Tugging his belt loop to say goodbye, I'm headed back inside to run into Tess. So that's happening, huh? She asks, pale eyebrows raised in a dozen different embroidery flash friendship bracelets stacked up one arm. She had a poolside arts and crafts thing on the schedule this morning. I remember. She grins at me, then off my clearly stricken expression, oh God, sorry, no. I'm not trying to give you a hard time or anything. I like Gabe. I think he's a good guy. No, I say immediately, in the impulse to lie like a reflex. I remember what I said to Patrick the day. I know what you think, but there's nothing going on here. I mean, he's a good guy. I just, hey, don't worry about it. Tess holds a freckly hand up, shaking her head. You know, don't even answer that. It's none of my business. I won't say anything to anybody. No, it's fine, I say, exhaling. Thanks. Tess shrugs. No problem, she tells me, reaching up to scape her hair into a ponytail. Hey, listen, I don't know if this is a hugely weird or whatever, but Imogen and I were talking about it, and we were going to ask you anyway. We're going to do Crowbar tomorrow if you want to come with. It's a suicide mission. It's completely absurd. Why are you even talking to me? I want to ask her, why are you even being nice to me? Still, sure, I hear myself answer. Like this summer got a swiftly moving current. Like somehow, I'm getting swept away. That could be fun. Tess grins. Good, she declares, turning around and heading for lakefront. And hey, your chapstick's totally smeared. Day 23. Crowbar is a squat stucco building near the entrance to the highway. A giant silhouette of blackbird in questioning leering down the wooden sign outside. It's after 10 when the cab drops us off. The short, stocky bouncer gives us a perfectionary once over before he waves us inside. The place is a dive right off the highway in Silverton that's notoriously easy to get into, even if you don't have an ID, and for a good reason. It's dingy enough that no self-respecting adult would ever want to hang out here. It smells dank and beery, with the pool table at one end and a jangling game of Buck Hunter, the crush of bodies, and the clang of a dumb Kings of Leon song on the jukebox. I freeze for just 1 second in the doorway, and Imogen slips her hand into mine and tugs me along through the crowd. Shots, Tess asks, eyes white and grinning. She's more dressed up than I'm used to seeing her. Her red hair loose down her back, and a scattering of freckles along her cheekbones that make her look sort of mischievous. I can see what Patrick likes about her. In the cab over here. Excuse excuse me. She offered me both drugstore brand lip gloss and some dried mango from her purse, friendly enough to make me wonder if maybe girlfriends are totally out of the question for me this summer. Even as improbable as Patrick's, if maybe it's okay to relax. Shots, Imogen echoes, and I laugh, digging some cash out of my purse to hand to Tess. I can see Patrick across the bar, along with Jake and Annie from the lodge, their faces lit by blue-red glow of neon sign for pabs. After a moment, they catch me looking. Jake waves, and Annie tips her beer in a not quite friendly recognition, but Patrick just stares at me, eyebrows raised before saying something I can't make out of both of them, and disappearing towards the back of the room. Tess heads over to say hello to them. Imogen weaves her way to the bar, scan the crowd for another moment, spotting some faces I recognize, more who clearly recognize me. A few girls who used to sit at my lunch table, and Elizabeth Reese in a silky black top. I stop and blink when my gaze lands on a girl not 2 feet away from where I'm standing, raven hair, red lips, pale skin like Snow White in the Enchanted Forest. The Donnellys have always been ridiculously good looking family, but Patrick's twin sister is the winner of the genetic lottery, no question. Julia is dressed in skinny jeans and ballet flats and a long, loose tank top with a bright purple bra underneath, and she's frowning. I gasp. I can't help it. It seems like seeing a wolf in the middle of a shopping mall for the feeling of tumbling off a cliff right before you fall asleep. Julia was totally straight edge the first 2 years of high school. Didn't drink or smoke at all. Crown Bar is the last place I ever expected her to see her. Looks like the feeling is mutual. Her blue eyes widen when she notices me, like maybe she's thought her welcome home, fuck you campaign was enough to keep me in the house for longer than this. Then she sighs, bitch. She mutters just loud enough so I can hear her. She sounds profoundly annoyed, like she's irritated at having to expand the energy it takes to hate me, like it's a game I keep making her play even though she's bored. Julia and I grew up like sisters, shared clothes, dolls, and makeup until we were 16 years old. Now, standing here in the middle of Crowbar at the beginning of our last summer before college, she tilts her delicate wrist so that the contents of her beer glass tips right in front of right down the front of my shirt. For a second, I only just gasped at her. Julia, who loves Full House reruns, Julia, who snorts when she laughs. We've got a little audience by now, the half dozen people standing in our immediate vicinity, plus Imogen, who crossed the bar like some long dormant spidey sense was tingling her brainstem. Jesus, Julia, Imogen says, grabbing my arm and pulling me back like she thinks Julia's about to do something worse. What the hell? It's fine, I say, holding up both hands in surrender. I was right. This was a terrible idea. I don't know what I was possibly thinking. I can feel the scorching heat through my entire body and the cold shock of the beer where it's soaking up through my top. I shake Imogen off. It's okay. I manage more sharply than I mean to. Then to the back of her receding figure, good to see you too, Jules. Julia doesn't stop moving. Might want to lay off the beers, Molly. She sings songs over her shoulder. You're looking a little thick. Okay, I manage when she's gone. Hands shaking, I can see Patrick watching from across the bar. All I want to do is shut my eyes and be as far as humanly possible. But if I can't have that, then I want my third floor bedroom, the big gray blanket, and the glow of my computer in my lap. I want to go home. I gotta go, Imogen. What just happened? That's Tess coming up behind us, bumping Imogen's hips with hers. 3 shots of something amber in her hand and some orange slices she stole off the bar for a snack. Her eyes widen when she sees my shirt. Alarmed. Did Julia do that on purpose? She asks. Imogen shakes her head. Don't ask. Then taking 2 of the shot glasses out of Tess's hand, handing me one over, like I never said anything about leaving. You ready? I look at the 2 of them and probable teammates after something that happened, but here they are. Gabe, I can't hide forever. I've only got 76 days to go. Ready. Day 24. I wake up in the blackest of moods, the pulse of a hangover beating behind my eyes and my mouth tasting cottony foul. There's no way I'm running, that's for sure. Instead, I brush my teeth through my tawny, knotty hair up into a ponytail, then shuffle downstairs for coffee. My mom sitting at the kitchen island reading the Times in her thick framed glasses and a striped t-shirt that could as easily have come from my closet as from hers. Morning, she says, a pointed glance at the clock on the wall, meant to let me know that it's well afternoon. How you doing? I sniff the milk carton and wrinkle my nose. Fine, I mumble. My stomach doesn't feel so great. Really? She asks, sitting back in her chair to eye me with the kind of motherly skepticism I'm not used to from her anymore. How she hasn't tried to parent me in more than a year. Emily Green conveniently was an orphan. Because I have to say, you're not really looking fine. She takes a sip of her steaming mugs. What the mug? Swallows. You want to tell me? Tell you what. I snapped irritably. That's what she said the night I babbled about Gabe's sophomore year. I remember all of a sudden me out of my stupid brain with guilt and panic and her sitting at the desk in her office. You want to tell me? And I did. I told her everything. God, and curiosity from her is so gross to me now. The instinct for self-preservation kicking up like a stiff autumn wind across the lake. I feel like she wants to pick the meat off my bones. What do you have? Writer's block or something? Looking for new material? I said, I'm okay. My mother huffs out a noisy sigh. Oh, okay, Molly. She says, have it your way. I know you'd rather not be here this summer, and I apologize to you. I'm sorry if you feel like I violated your privacy, but I wrinkle at her. I whirl on her. If I feel like you violated my privacy, I can't believe her, honestly can't believe her. Who are you? Who says that? How can you possibly? I'm a writer, Molly. She interrupts me like it's a religion or a freaking culture or something, like some kind of messed up moral relativism will explain this anyway away. I take real life events and I fictionalize them. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. Of course, there are going to be, "You're my mom," I countered, my voice cracking in a way that portrays all the nasty coldness I've spent the last year in, half cultivating an ugly break on the shell. I shake my head and slam the coffee pot down on the counter hard enough. I'm afraid it might shatter. Or, like you were supposed to be, you chose me, remember? That's what you always said, but you really just wanted to sell me for your parts. My mom blenches at that, or maybe I just want her to. Molly, and you're right that I'd rather not be here. I'd rather not have anything to do with you for the rest of my life, actually. And you know what? That you can go ahead and put your next book. That you can go ahead and put in your next book. You can tell the whole world, Mom, and have it, and have at it. I leave my empty mug on the counter and stalk up the stairs, scaring the crap out of Vita and sending Oscar scabbling into the mudroom. The old stairs creak under my weight.